What is the fastest way you have seen someone ruin their life? My sister started doing meth and heroin. She went from super smart to completely dumb. By the age of 19, she was already a felon. No one in the family wants to help her anymore because each time we tried, either sending her to rehab or tried getting her sober, she would just go back to it. Was supposed to go to college, but now she's 22 and stays at different people's houses and begs people for money, completely cut me and everyone else off from her because she thinks us trying to help her is us being jealous and not wanting her to be happy in life. Former friend of mine was arrested for soliciting an 11-year-old for sexual favors online and traveling across state to meet her. I never expected him to do that. His girlfriend at the time asked if I wanted to be a character witness, and I noped out before she finished her sentence. Judge made an example out of him and sentenced him to life. Apparently it wasn't his first essay offense. I can't believe she even stuck around to even consider looking for people to testify on his behalf. A coach at the school I worked at led the boys' basketball team to state and was awarded Coach of the Year. Comments on the post about his award started filling up with sexual assault accusations from former students. Obviously, an investigation was immediately launched, and he shot himself in the head by the end of the week. Literally went from being awarded and praised to dead by suicide within days, left behind a wife and 2 young kids. Knew a guy in the military that had 18 years in and was doing online classes to get his MBA. He was in his final semester of getting his MBA and 2 years away from a military retirement. Then he traveled 1,500 miles across the country to try hook up with a 15-year-old girl, spent 2 years in prison, was kicked out of the military and his college he was attending. I'm not entirely sure if he could pick up where he left off to get his MBA at the same college or a different one, but that's probably useless for him anyways now since he's a convicted felon. I don't think having an MBA is going to make employers overlook your felony for trying to have sex with a minor. Crime, specifically felonies. My lawyer took out a loan forging my signature. He's doing 15 years in federal prison. I would have given him the $5,000. His kid was very sick, and I would have gladly helped him out. My cousin, 18 years old female, finished her senior year early, so she was basically just waiting for May to do the graduation and get her diploma. She worked at a lake restaurant and had started hanging out with a bad crowd. At this time, she had been smoking a lot of weed and drinking, as well as just being generally reckless all the time. She was my best friend, so she texted me to tell me about everything she did basically. One night, she texted me to tell me that she had tried meth and it was the best high of her life, but she will never do it again. Exactly 1 month after that text, she overdosed and died. They put her portrait in her graduation seat and her dad got to walk and pick up her diploma. Bar fight. Heard a loud commotion for about 30 seconds. Some guy thought this guy was hitting on his date. Suckered punched him. The other guy fell down and clipped the bar. The bar had brass footrest at the base. Snapped the guy's neck so loud you could hear it across the room. It took 4 hours. He woke up, murdered his grandparents in their sleep, stole all of the firearms in the house and his grandfather's truck, and fled. I grew up with this dude. He was a genuinely good person. We were friends all of elementary school and most of middle school. He was an amazing friend and always knew how to help someone, but he had a lot of mental health issues, and his religious family believed it was just possession by demons and whatnot. Recently, his actual hearing was done, and you could tell how far off the deep end he had gotten. Smiling the whole time they described what he did, laughed when they sentenced him, and had to be dragged out laughing like a lunatic saying, "It's over, Grandpa. It's over." It was during the court trials that we found out his grandparents were apparently sexually abusing him, something the rest of the family seemingly knew quite well but ignored, and they'd refused to let him leave the house despite him being in his 20s and a legal adult. They isolated him from the world, told him he was possessed by demons, and let his grandparents molest him repeatedly without intervention. I'm honestly not even surprised he did it. I'm just sad it went down the way it did. I knew someone who had a full scholarship to an in-state university. He got addicted to heroin, overdosed, fell into a coma, and now he's confined to a wheelchair and has the mental capacity of a toddler. It happened within 2 or 3 years. Have a friend who had a drinking problem and got into an argument with a gas station worker while drunk. The worker tried stopping his car by standing in front of it, and my friend ran him over and killed him. Wife, career, freedom, everything lost. My father-in-law is 65, was married to his wife for 37 years, and has 3 daughters. The picture perfect family from the outside looking in. He was well respected in his career field and was also an interim pastor deacon at our local church. After he retired, his health started to deteriorate drastically, and he started drinking. This past November, we learned that he had fell for a love scam on Facebook and had spent his entire life savings took out a second mortgage on his home, and opened up numerous credit cards to send this fake person money. All in all, he sent them roughly $300,000. He was truly convinced she was going to move here from overseas and they were going to ride off into the sunset, leave everything behind, and live happily ever after. Now, he is divorced, lives in a crummy apartment about 45 minutes from his family, and is miserable. He can barely walk and has essentially zero control over his bowel movements. To make matters worse, he has very narcissistic tendencies and thinks that none of it is his fault, and instead blames his ex-wife, claiming that she didn't love him and show him any affection. As you can imagine, this has affected my wife, her sisters, and mother immensely and caused all sorts of problems and stress over the last 8 months. But long story short, he lost everything: his assets, his family, his health, and happiness. I would be shocked if he's even alive a year from now. In Germany, there was a contestant on the show Wetten das, translated as Bet That, a few years ago. In the show, statements about crazy talents and activities were presented by the participants. The contestants bet on things they could do and get a prize if they could actually perform these self-proclaimed tasks' talents. One participant bet that he would be able to jump over moving cars. It went wrong, and he was left a paraplegic. He has since largely recovered, psychological, not physical, and is handling it great as far as the public is concerned, but the situation will probably always stick in my mind. Oh, and clearly heroin, the shortcut to ruining your own life as quickly as possible. Had a friend that had the perfect girlfriend, a good career path, and just so many things going his way. Then the dude picked drugs over his girlfriend, and basically he gave up on everything for drugs. I haven't heard from the guy in about 7 years, so to be honest, I don't even know if he's still alive. An old customer got fired from Uber and DD for being slow and arriving with cold food way too often. Comes into my bar the next day with limited edition EXO weekend sweater plus jeans, new Apple Watch, and new iPhone, all paid cash. Says he took out a payday loan for $10,000 and doesn't intend to pay it back. He'll just cancel the bank account. His exact words: "Who needs credit anyways?" He stopped showing up to the bar after about 3 months. Never saw him again. Dude I know won a $3 million settlement from being hit by a car, spent it all on heroin, and was dead within 3 years, under 30 years old. 15, 20 years ago, an ex worked at a dream job type of place. If you make it professionally in that field, this employer is the absolute peak. There is no better place to go. New guy started there, on ex's team, right out of university. His first day, he went to the company store and got all the gear with company's name on it, t-shirt, hat, socks, etc., and proudly put it all on. After work, team took the new guy out to drinks to celebrate his first day at dream job employer. New guy gets way too drunk, goes outside to smoke a cig, and then takes his penis out and presses it up against the bar's glass window. Penis man's new colleagues, all the bar's patrons, and all their staff see his dick. Ex closed out their tab and got drunk guy home. The bar calls the employer the next morning, complaining about the new guy's dick antics, banning him and anyone wearing company gear. New guy was fired before lunch on day 2. A cautionary story. I watched this clip where these two kids were posing with a gun. The girl in the video accidentally shot the boy in the head. She panicked and shot herself. That shit changed me. It all happened so fast. I don't think the clip was longer than 30 seconds. My daughter's boyfriend, July 4th, 2023, hopped in his car blackout drunk to come see my daughter. DUI and hit and run. He's just about to begin a painful, life-altering process. I posted this once before. I had a friend that had a promising career, got upset, and went into full road rage for a woman who forgot to turn her blinker on, and he slightly bumped her back bumper on the freeway, causing her to lose control and flipping over and killing the driver and her 2 daughters. Oddly, it was all caught on his car dash cam and a trucker with his own dash cam that was behind him. He is now doing 40+ years in prison. Watched a guy gamble $30,000 away in a night and then cried about losing his life savings, and security had to get involved and escort him out because he started to get angry at the dealers because all they could offer him was free night stays at the hotel for playing so much. But he wanted free play at the tables/slots, and they refused. A senior girl from my college pushed another girl she was friends with off a 30-foot bridge into water as a joke, broke her neck and collarbone, and she's permanently in a wheelchair. Dude I know won a $3 million settlement from being hit by a car, spent it all on heroin, and was dead within 3 years, under 30 years old. A high school teacher from my hometown who was married with children had an affair with her 17-year-old student. Apparently, it was going on for over a year before anyone found out. When the whole thing came out, her life was basically over. She lost everything. A guy I worked with at Papa John's when I was in college bought a gun from a coworker. Our other coworker got robbed delivering a pizza. He told me he wants to see if it works. He went and shot it into an empty developing neighborhood into some trees. The bullets hit a house behind the trees with a family and kids. Nobody was hurt, but they were scared to death. Police immediately came and arrested him before he could even pull off. They were camping out in that neighborhood already since people were coming at night to smoke weed, have sex, and shoot guns. He shot 3 shots, got 25 years in prison for attempted murder and reckless endangerment. First time ever shooting a gun. We were only 19. This was in 2006. I think about him a lot. We weren't close like that, but he's still in prison over a 5-second mistake 17 years later. Really nerdy kid, too. First time ever in trouble. I follow his sister on Facebook. He's unrecognizable now. Imagine McLovin from Superbad, who looks like Jason Momoa now, with tats on his face. Sad. Also, my roommate a few weeks later was struggling financially and decided to buy 2 pounds of weed to sell with his student loan refund check. Got pulled over and arrested the same day. Got 5 years. Can't make this shit up. Thanks for the watch. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my latest videos. I will appreciate it. See you in the next one.